Welcome to the Bigger Room Podcast 2025. I'm your host, Jill Bender.
And I'm Mel Covian, and welcome to our January Health Month. This entire month of January, we're going to be giving you guys some amazing health and wellness tips. So for those of you that don't know, I'm actually a certified master personal trainer and a certified nutrition coach. So I know a thing or two. I've worked with over 1,000 people, and during this time of year, mindset around fitness is just everybody's like at an all-time high, super committed, and then we crash, right? It's like New Year's resolution. Yeah, in
In
January.
January, everyone's at a
Yeah.
Everyone's got it on their goal for the year, right?
Absolutely. It's like the best month for personal trainers. People are excited. The energy is just high, and it's like, oh, we don't have to convince people to like show up for the workouts, So I definitely wanted to give you guys just that wisdom this month. So make sure you guys are tuning in every single week. And if you have any questions, wherever you're watching this on YouTube, drop any questions that you may have that we can answer this month. So before we dive in, Jill, have you thought about your New Year's resolution yet? Or you're like, what are your thoughts behind New Year's resolutions? I guess I should ask.
And last year was the first year I had my son. He was 7 at the time. I had him just give me like 4 things. To my surprise, one of them was ride a horse, and I did not know he wanted to do that. But we made it happen, and he got on a horse this year. So I think they're important. If I think most people that even do them because they're supposed to do them, and they have no real effort to actually executing anything. I think they've been doing them so long and not meeting those goals that it now has just become white noise for them. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to do this. This is fun. And then they put it aside, and then they just never get looked at again.
Yeah, it's not actually something that they desire so much that they needed to happen. Yeah. And so during this time when it comes to health and fitness goals, people always want to lose weight. They're tired of it. They're like, this is the year, Jill. This is the year that I'm gonna have my dream body. And the energy and the intent is really there, but most people fail. And so we're gonna talk about why that's the case. And the number one reason is because you mentioned something very important, is that maybe the true desire is not there. Why do you want to lose weight? Is it because you care about what people have to say? Is it because is it personally your self-esteem? Why do you want to lose weight? And I'm talking about weight specifically because that is like the very common goal related to fitness that people have.
For sure.
And what ties to that is they simply don't know how. Jill, you and I are on social media. How many different pieces of advice do you think are around? If somebody were to search on TikTok how to lose weight, how many different conflicting pieces of advice do you think they would get?
Now with AI technology, I guarantee is like hundreds of thousands. Like you're gonna see, don't eat bananas to eat bananas.
Yeah. There's a viral video actually of the guy where he's like eating oatmeal. It's like, you shouldn't eat oatmeal, or then he's eating a banana. You shouldn't eat a banana. Then he's eating vegetables. Why you shouldn't eat vegetables? Why you shouldn't drink water? Like all of that misinformation is going to overwhelm people, and that's exactly what ends up happening. Is people maybe they've never hired a personal trainer, maybe they can't afford one, or again it's just that lack of knowledge. And truly that's at the core of why people fail in general, is lack of information. So if you have a lack of information, you're not going to take action. So the first thing you need to do is, what am I willing to commit to? Because we know, for example, like excess of sugar, things like that are not good. But if you're somebody who has a heavily sugar coffee in the morning with a pastry and completely cutting yourself out, you're gonna fail within the week. Right? Because we gotta measurable. We gotta measure your goals. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
I was gonna say, this ties back to our 2024 year-end episode of micro goals.
Correct. That's exactly what we were going to loop it back to, is what are you willing to do? Because I've had clients that would, Mel, I'm not willing to give up my Starbucks in the morning. Okay, cool, sweet. Does that mean maybe you have to walk for 5 more minutes? Maybe, it depends. So what are you? Yeah.
Or give up something else during the day.
Exactly. So we also, that's the thing that we have to respect, that we all start differently and our bodies are going to respond differently. For example, I don't sweat much. My wife sweats easily, right? So her body just moves water easily. She's going to lose water weight a lot faster than I am. I'm not going to sit here and compare myself to her freaking Nordic body that is like meant to, be strong. So please respect, more than anything, respect your body. Respect where you're at. That is so important. I can tell you how many people would also just, oh, I wish I'd look like that. And it's like, honey, do you realize like you cannot change your skeleton?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jill, I wanted to ask you if you could share a little bit about what made you hire a personal trainer.
Oh yeah. That first off, that's something that I have wanted to do probably since I knew they existed. Yeah, I mean, growing
Why?
up,
Why?
well, growing up, I was always super active, fit. I was strong. I was like had the lowest body mass, or I had the highest muscle mass, or whatever. When they do like the fat tester, and I was just all muscle. But I played hard, and like that's just who I was. But then once I didn't have all of that activity and everything, I realized I used to be a really picky eater, and then I started to like food and try food, and then all of those things combined. Anyway, I joined gyms and not, I'd go for a little bit and then not go, and I never had like a workout partner really to have somebody to go with, and I always thought that would help. Even when I did, sometimes they wouldn't show up, and then I wouldn't show up, and then I realized I can't rely on any of those people. If I just paid somebody to make me work out, is how I used to always say it. If I just paid somebody to like stand over me and tell me what to do, that was the ideal situation. So I just kind of always had that in my head. That's what I wanted. So
Yeah.
once I was, making money that I felt could afford a personal trainer, I actually found one that she's not even like crazy expensive either.
Yeah. Yeah. And that probably ties into why some people don't get a personal trainer. It's because they just can't afford it. But guys, we're in 2025. AI is actually amazing. And with the knowledge I have in my head, because I did that for a whole 10 years, I've played around with ChatGPT, and I trust it so much because of the knowledge it has. The knowledge I have in my head, it has the fitness training plans that it can write for you, the nutrition meal plans that it can write for you, and you can feed it like, I absolutely want to have my Starbucks. It'll make it work. So it's important that we kick things off with that mindset of whatever objections you have, you need to figure out that why this year it's going to be different. And it starts with respecting the fact that there are some things that you're going to have to trade. It has to be different this year.
And I just want to say, when you said maybe you can't afford a personal trainer, maybe I shouldn't say it because they're different episodes or whatever, but we can afford anything that we want.
Absolutely.
We really can. So even 2024, I almost lost my vehicle, almost got repossessed. I was like living on negative bank account balances and credit cards going through the roof. And all I kept telling myself was, there's no way I'm losing my personal trainer. So
yeah,
I was making sacrifices in other places, but I knew didn't want to lose all the other things. So I had to make it work. And I wanted it. So my why is strong enough to, afford it.
I actually like that you're saying that, because it is true. And I think that's what I meant with, there are things that you have to sacrifice. Like, there are some things that have to be different. And it really is obviously what you guys have been doing. If you're in this position where like, this is actually a big goal of mine, I want to get in shape, you have to make sacrifices. Obviously, if you keep doing the same thing again and again and expect different results, like it's not going to happen. So it's important that we get our mindset right. Who cares about what you have to do right now, what you have to eat, how you have to move? Is what tools do you need right now to make sure that you actually commit in 2025? Starts with getting that mindset right. And what sacrifices are you willing to make?
And I encourage you, if you didn't listen to, or even if you have, you should go back, listen to the last episode of 2024. We talked mostly about money, but this applies to your health and your fitness as well. And a lot of the mindset books and, mentors that I listen to, they talk about this is the reason people drop a bunch of weight and then gain it right back, is because they can't visualize themselves. They haven't fully visualized themselves as that ideal person. So if you're looking to be, that skinny person, you have to embrace that as what you look like now. You have to see yourself, you have to feel yourself as that, and you have to hold on to that feeling and stay in it. But
Yes.
you lost all this weight and you know what it's like to be heavier, and most likely you're going to go right back to it if you cannot shift your mind. I am living proof.
Yeah.
I am not going to sugarcoat it, and that didn't just happen to me. It's a mental challenge, but
yeah,
I know the tools that I have, and I know what I need to do.
I mean, it can.
It's just
Yeah,
work.
I know what I'm supposed to do, and it's still a challenge for me to like make it a priority, right? Because there's a part of us that thinks, oh, I'll just catch up, and that's where bad things happen, where you're either overtraining or creating eating disorders that truly don't serve you. So you need to be willing to make sacrifices and figure out what's sustainable, but you need to get your mindset right first of all. And I do want to just share really quickly the last few years that I was personally training people in person, because things changed after the pandemic. I went fully online. I had a lot of senior clients, and some of them eventually ended up passing away, but till their last moment, they would not give up their time slot to train, because they always talked about, reminded me how lucky I was to recognize how powerful it is to just move your body. And I'll always have that with me, because it's like, you have two legs, hopefully everybody listening, you are blessed with a body that can move. Don't take it for granted. That is the one thing you should never take for granted. It is your home, like that. Your body is your home.
And the last thing is, I guarantee probably 85% of you that are listening to this already argued with us in your head. Well, I can't because of this and because of that. Get rid of any blame that you're putting on anything.
Yeah.
I am a single mom. I worked my butt off this year have been trying to maintain our home and keep our home and keep the things that we have financially. A lot of mental stuff going on there when you have all of that. There's a lot of weight and misfocus.
Yeah.
And if that were the thing that I was most desiring, that it would absolutely happen. But I have given my focus to some of the other stuff that is in my life. I'm not blaming any of it. That's just where I have chosen to put my focus right now. So there's no blaming. It is what it is. And you're either in or you're not. And you have to make that decision yourself.
I'll share this last thing that will help you get in that mindset, because this episode is really about how can I get my mind right so that I actually stay committed to my goals, my fitness goals. And when I struggle, especially when it's the goal is for the year, like there's no specific by March or by May, because as we know, life happens, and then that month rolls around and you're like, crap, like I'm not at my goal, I'm just going to give up. Right? Don't let's not do that. Instead, like Jill said, embody that person right now. So I always like to take just 3 deep breaths, not in my head, but in my heart, so that I come from that place of actual love and intent. And I ask the version of me that's 1 year older, what advice does she have for me? Like, how can I achieve this? How can I achieve my fitness goals this year? What wisdom do you have that you can give me right now? And it's just like, keep pushing me out, keep going for your walks, be easy on yourself. So sometimes the wisdom that you need is already within. That do you, because if when you talk to the future you, you don't want that future you to be having excuses. It's like your brain refuses to see yourself as a negative person, as a negative Nancy. So seek the wisdom from future you. Because if you seek it from the egotistical mind, you're going to self-sabotage. Like, oh, because like Jill said, you're going to be like, oh yeah, but the kids, or, I can't because of this. What does 1 year older you have to say? Listen to her, because that's who you want to be. So listen to her. She has no excuses.
And envision her looking like the one you want to look like.
How does she move? Can she touch her toes? Is she mobile? Like, embody her right now and listen to her. I promise you, when you get the wisdom, it's already within you. We just have to see life through that lens. And I promise you, if you go into 2025 with your fitness goals from that place of wisdom, it's going to be an amazing year for you. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say, Joe?
No, I mean, besides, I really, really want to encourage you guys to start seeing yourself how you want to look. Right? And we already said it, but I really, really want to emphasize that is so important for reaching all your goals. What do you want to look like? Who do you want to be? Just see that person only. Stop seeing anything else. You look in the mirror and say, God, you look so beautiful today. Have you lost weight? Like, say whatever you gotta say.
Check yourself out.
It's gonna make yourself smile. If you've ever seen that movie with Jim Carrey where he's God or whatever, or no, he's not. Bruce Almighty.
Oh yeah. I've seen that movie. Yeah.
The one with I think there's 2 of them, but it's the one with that other funny guy from The Office.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Okay, well, he looks in the mirror in the morning before he knows he's like God or whatever. He looks in the mirror every morning before he goes to work, and he says all these positive things to himself in the mirror. Watch that movie. Model that. He does exactly what we're talking about. Like, every day you make yourself smile by telling yourself some amazing things. Like, God, you look so rich today. Like, it is such a powerful tool.
Yeah. The healing comes from within. We start healing ourselves by speaking to ourselves like that too. So super excited. I'm super excited to continue to drop some golden nuggets here. So next week we'll drop some nutrition tips. Some really cool stuff for you guys.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today on the Bigger Room podcast. See you next week.